Um, I will kick off a new series. It's just reviews of floppies of single issues I purchased in the last 1 or 2 weeks. I will do this twice a month, maybe. We'll see how it goes. I have to apologize. My English is not perfect. I'm from Germany. I will try my best. Sometimes I will just have a hiccup or so. You have to accept it. Or not. Just don't come back. I don't care. So let's kick off the whole thing with Black Magic by Greg Rucka. It's the number one, the magazine edition. You can see it's slightly oversized. Here's a regular comic. This is the magazine edition. Image does this from time to time. I think Brubaker did it twice. And it's really, it's a beautiful thing, you know. Oh, this direction. It's really nice. It has a lot of additional stuff in it. You know, layouts and different add-ons to the character and the setting and to the city and everything. But regarding the story, it's a build-up for something which is supposed to intrigue us, but it didn't with me. I'm sorry, I just didn't buy it. It's too much of a setup, and not much happens. We get the there is an introduction of the main protagonist, but that's it. And she's not super interesting. She's supposed to be some. It's a crime procedural, and the main protagonist is a woman who's a policewoman, who's probably something like a witch or something. But I didn't feel it. It felt a bit stiff and a bit too, how do you say, too calculated, too thought out. It's not real. So I will give this a pass, but because it's so pretty in the magazine format at least, I would say wait for a longer edition, you know, a trade paperback or something. But I don't think it will work in single issue format. The next one is The Goddamned by Jason Aaron and R.M. Guerra. I think a Spanish comic artist. They work together on Sculpt from Vertigo. It's a fantastic series. I really liked it. And I had high hopes for this one, but it didn't really work out. For me, it's just another setup for characters which we know from the Bible. You know, it's a bit of a name dropping. And they're like in kick-ass versions, you know. They're like super hardcore, and you know, I don't really care if Kane can fight like a motherfucker. I don't care, you know. What's the story? What is supposed to intrigue me about it? I mean, if I would be like the most fanatic Christian person ever, this would maybe provoke something in me, maybe just disgust, but this didn't do anything, so it's a pass. Next one is Vision number one. This got quite a few good reviews, and I get it. I see why. It's a very strange book for Marvel. It feels more like it could be a Vertigo book in a way. It's about a family of androids. And I won't spoil too much. You probably know Vision from the Avengers and from the movie and everything. But this is not an action type Avenger book or whatever. It's more of a psychological drama. It's a family who tries to be human. And it's a family of androids who tries to be human, to simulate a human family. And of course, there are problems. And I liked it very much. it's not a 10 out of 10, but it's a very interesting, intriguing start, and I will come back for number 2. Okay, here we have Monstrous by, I have to read it, Marjorie Liu and Sana Takeda. I didn't know either of them. You can see the book wasn't in the best condition, so it was marked down, and I got it for cheap. I wouldn't have picked it up other way, because this book is dark fantasy, and I don't like dark fantasy, maybe except for, you know, Hellblazer or Sandman or something, but it's not a genre which really clicks with me. I don't like Game of Thrones. I don't like all this poison arts and all this stuff. It doesn't do for me nothing. But this one was surprisingly good. It has a fantastic artwork, which also not necessarily my style. Very baroque, very a bit of, you know, kitsch in it, and also a bit Art Deco. All stuff that feels a bit too much, but in this case it works out perfectly, and it's very impressive and very detailed. Maybe I will just show you something. I mean, my camera is shit, but you get maybe why I was so fascinated by it. It's it has something of a children's book, but with a very, you know, this could be also a European comic, you know? It's really nice. And the story is, I don't want to tell too much about it. I think you should just read it. What I will say is, it's at the end of issue 1, I don't know if we're dealing with a villain or a good person, a hero. It's this might be the Breaking Bad of dark fantasy books. It's a really interesting and intriguing first issue. It's 50 pages. It's $5, but it's 50 pages of story, and this gets a high recommendation from me. It's really good. Paper Girls number 2 by Brian K. Vaughan and Jeff Chung. Is it right? No, it's Cliff Chung. You know this guy from Saga. I'm not the biggest Saga fan, but I know that it's really entertaining, and I stopped reading around paperback 3 or something, but you know, this guy always gets me. He has a good he's just a good craftsman who can entertain you and who can grab you and just pull you into the story. And this is what he does with Paper Girls. It's kind of it begins like a Spielberg film, you know, a gang of kids and something weird happens, maybe aliens, we don't know. And then it gets weirder from there, but it never gets weird in a way that you can't connect with it all, because you have those characters who are really sympathetic and funny and have really funny dialogues, and yeah, he can do it. He's the man. I mean, like Kirkman, maybe not the most thought-provoking or subtle literature, but it's very entertaining, and so I'll give it a. All right, now we come to my favorite, Art Ops number 1 by Simon Oliver. Is it right? No, it's fucking Sean Simon. I didn't know this guy before. I'm really sorry, man. And Mike Orrit is the artist. This blew me away. It was so good. You know, it's like, I don't know where to start. The story is super insane. It's about kind of an agency, and their job is to protect protagonists from famous paintings. So they let Mona Lisa, it's about the Mona Lisa in the first issue, they take her out of the picture and take her to some safe place because she's somehow threatened by we don't know who. And there's this guy, and his mother is the head of this agency, and the guy. Oh my god, I can really explain it. I'm really sorry. It's like explaining a Doom Patrol comic. You can't do it. You have to read it. And it's really, really good. And I beg you to give this a shot. If you like stuff like Shade the Changing Man, you know, or Enigma, and, you know, in general, Grant Morrison or Peter Milligan stuff, it's the more demented, crazy, fun part of Vertigo, which I missed a lot in the last years. You only got like this very gritty and dark and, you know, also boring stuff. And out of the last bunch of number ones from Vertigo, this one stands really out. And it's not a sales pitch for a TV series. This is a comic, and this is a story you can only tell in comics. So please give it a shot. And also, like, the artwork is incredible. I really love Mike Orrit, but this is one of his best works. So much detail, so much world building in a crazy way. It's I love it. It's a perfect number one. So this on the other side is not a perfect number one. I would say it's a rather weak one. It's by Cy Spencer, who wrote Buddies, a miniseries which came out last year from Vertigo, and which I pretty much liked. It was also very... The ideas were quite complex. It was, again, it was not a sales pitch. It was a comic, and I really, really liked it. This one felt very stiff, very calculated, very okay, I know what I have to do on page 3. I know what I have to do on page 12. Here's the backstory. This is the motivation for my protagonist. So I didn't really feel it, and it's a pity because the premise is really nice. It's about a firefighter who's also a pyromaniac. So it's really intriguing and an interesting concept I haven't read or seen before, but unfortunately it's a bit too formulaic, so it's a pass. And this is the last one from this bunch. It's Captain America, Sam Wilson Captain America #2 by Marvel Comics. It's written by Nick Spencer, who I like very much. More and more, I have to say. I really like his Ant-Man, and his Captain America is really, really fun. I like that he's, you know, it's always difficult when you switch the guy who wears the mask, you know. You do this with every main hero, especially the ones who don't have like special powers, like Batman or Captain America, where it's more about the symbol and what they represent. But the people tend to stay with, you know, with what they know and what they think was always right. It should stay like that. And I wasn't really sure that the change to Sam Wilson was the right one. But now we're into the second issue, and it feels super fresh, and it's a much more modern take on the Captain America myth, and it builds on the mythology, and it builds on the conflicts in which Captain America was always involved. Do I stay true to my ideals, or do I stay with the government, or, you know, the United States part of America, you know? And I think he plays it really well, and I love the artwork, and I love that it's very much, it's a very dense storytelling. You get, for your €4, you get your reading time, you know? It's not like and 1 minute and it's done because it's pretty pictures. No, it's a real story, and it's well told, it's very funny, charming, and it's a go. So that's it for those 2 last weeks of comics, or maybe 3. And I hope you liked it, and I would enjoy to answer your questions, or if you have any comments, just write them in the comments field. And thank you very much. And